after all, you do have to kind of royally suck in the first half to have a second half comeback for the ages. But that win still showed resilience, so I gotta give them respect for it. Welcome to the jungle, everyone. I'm Kyle Phelps, and I'd like to start a petition for more NFL weeks like that. You had 4 different huge comebacks play out this week, including the largest comeback in NFL history and the craziest play I've ever seen in that Patriots-Raiders game. Damn, Jakobi Meyers. Man, that was a great week of football. But before we get into breaking down the rankings, I'd just like to ask that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. It really helps my channel out, and it helps you know when all of my content comes out. So let's go ahead and kick things off by taking a quick look at the bottom 3 categories. From this group, I'm going to highlight just a few teams so we can move on and dive deeper into the teams that matter. So there's the Colts, who are my new worst team in the NFL, and it's not just the blown lead, although that was awful. It's the fact that they should have seen this kind of thing coming when you hire a dude like Jeff Saturday, who has no experience at coaching at this level or even the level before it. It's just utterly ridiculous, and you kind of got what you deserved. Then there's the Cleveland Browns, who pulled themselves out of tank time this week with a big win over the Baltimore Ravens. Maybe a preview of more to come, I don't know. And finally, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're in control of their own destiny in the AFC South now, so I'm not buying them just yet, but I do have them just on the cusp. Alright, so that's all the time we're going to spend on those 16 teams. Let's go ahead and move on to the playoff hopefuls. I'm still not quite sure on the Lions and Chargers, not ready to crown them as legit playoff teams just yet, but there's something to both of them. At number 14, I've got the Tennessee Titans. Why? Because they still technically lead their division, right? This is literally the only reason. How the fuck am I supposed to put a division leader outside of the playoff picture? I know they look awful lately, but as long as they remain atop their division, I think I legally have to keep them in the playoff picture. Just because, the top 14 teams, even if it's not the top 14 best teams, they're still the top teams that are making the playoffs. So they're leading their division, That's just the fact of the matter. Next up, I've got the New England Patriots at number 13. I think you're going to notice that a lot of teams in this area, kind of follow a theme. A lot of them lost this week and aren't really looking too hot as a result. But, again, everybody in this category kind of did, so it kind of ends up shaking out evenly in the power rankings. I wanted to tank them for Jakobi Meyers alone, but the fact of the matter is most of the New England Patriots did enough to get a win that week. And then, just that happened at the end. But next up, we got the Washington Commanders at number 12. I don't know if Taylor Heineke is necessarily the answer there in Washington, but you're definitely not going back to Carson Wentz. So let's just see what they can do, all right? Finally, at number 11, you've got the Baltimore Ravens. Their defense is the only reason I'm keeping them in this spot. That offense is a nightmare. Someone in Baltimore, for the love of God, tell Greg Roman not to come back next year. You can't fire him now because you're in the middle of a playoff race, but despite that, I don't think that they'll have much trouble, limping to the playoffs. Moving along, let's talk about the contenders. At number 10, I've got the New York Jets. Zach Wilson is the obvious person that you point to for all the blame for all of the Jets' problems here, but frankly, I think there's more to it than that. The Jets have no running game, which is probably not helping them either. Number 9, I got the Miami Dolphins. They have not been looking their best lately. But compared to what everyone else has been doing, and considering that they took the Bills close, I'll leave them alone for a week. Y'all can stay put because that was a good game. It was a really good game. Number 8, I've got the New York Giants. Brian Daboll should win Coach of the Decade for what he's doing with his Giants team right now, man. Daniel Jones is out here throwing passes to Richie James and Isaiah Hodgins. I mean, seriously, the job that he's done is remarkable. Next, the Dallas Cowboys come down a few spots after losing to the Jaguars. Now they're at number 7. There's no shame, really, because the Jaguars are actually a really good team, at least right now. but the Cowboys have been showing some concerning signs lately, so for me, they're a little bit on notice right now. Sorry, Majestic YT. Finally, the Minnesota Vikings are getting a boost after completing the greatest comeback in NFL history this week. Not a huge boost, mind you. After all, you do have to kind of royally suck in the first half to have a second half comeback for the ages. But that win still showed resilience, so I gotta give them respect for it. Alright, so that's all we've got for the contenders. Let's move on to the Super Bowl caliber teams. At number 5, the San Francisco 49ers look like they can beat anyone right now. They're also a decently injury-plagued team, so the fact that they're doing what they're doing is even more impressive. Like, you know, I know I just praised Brian Daboll, but, I mean, Kyle Shanahan should get a lot of praise for doing what he does with injury-riddled teams all the time. Oh, I also kind of sometimes wonder why they're so injury-riddled all the time. I don't know. Number 4, I got the Buffalo Bills, who had to come back against the Dolphins a little bit, but again, I admire their resilience. Number 3, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, they showed resilience too against the Texans. Oh boy. I have my concerns about what I've seen the last few weeks, Chiefs, but like I said, I give respect for the resilience. Speaking of resilience, how about my number 2 Cincinnati Bengals sticking in it and winning against Tom Brady after going down 17-0? I mean, it ain't 33-0, so nobody really cares this week. But I saw you, Bengals. Finally, number 1, I got the Philadelphia Eagles, who didn't need to show much resilience against the Chicago Bears outside of a bit of a weird start. Jalen Hurts' shoulder injury comes at an extremely inconvenient time, but it sounds like there shouldn't be too much long-term issue there for him. So there's your power rankings for this week, everyone. Here's the whole list again so that you can see everything together. Like I said, not as much movement as you might anticipate from such a crazy week because, frankly, when everyone around you has the same result, it's really hard to move the rankings one way or the other. But either way, let me know what y'all think in the comments below, and I'll feature the best ones in my next video, like this one from Majestic YT, who said in my last Power Rankings video, Bengals are not better, that's just straight up. Y'all have no defense compared to ours. I don't know, what now? Just want to point out what happened this week. And our offense is even more terrifying now that we've got a veteran T.Y. Hilton. Bruh. Are we talking about the same T.Y. Hilton who hasn't played a full season since Andrew Luck retired? The same guy who nobody wanted this offseason? Forgive me if I'm not petrified of T.Y. Hilton. Also, I want to confirm, had the Bengals lost to the Buccaneers, I probably would have dropped them like 2 or 3 spots. I think that's fair coming off of a 5-game win streak. That still would have had them ahead of the Cowboys. So, sit down, y'all lost to the Jaguars. Of course, I'm kidding though, it's all love. I love seeing y'all's comments, and I hope the rest of you give me your unfiltered thoughts too. Bring me that smoke, I'm here for it. Until then, y'all can always catch more of what I do at KylePhelps92 on Twitter, Facebook.com/ThePhelps, ATBNetwork.com, Butt Fumble Sports, the Battle of Ohio podcast, which is on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and right here if you subscribe. Oh man, we're getting deep into the playoff race now. We're about to see who deserves it and who doesn't. Until then, I'll leave y'all, as always, with a hootie!